Dear human brothers and sisters, as we know, we are same human being. Mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same human being. Since we usually call all sentient beings who have the experience of pains and joyfulness, they all naturally have the desire to achieve happy life, joyful life, and do not want suffering. That's our basic right. All have the right to achieve that sort of goal, happy life. And other sentient beings, of course, all have the same desire and same right, but there are sensorial sort of experience, sometimes you see, stronger than human being. But mental level, their brain not sort of sophisticated as human beings' mind. Therefore, in human being, you see, we develop our language. So now, look, 7 billion human beings. It's a different language. However, there is possibility to communicate and some kind of sort of connection on mental level. So, then, since everybody wants happy life, and happy life very much related with peace. Peace, not only external peace, but internal peace. As a matter of fact, external peace must achieve through, or must approach through inner peace. Without inner peace, world peace impossible to achieve. Full of anger, full of stress, full of anxiety, almost impossible to achieve world peace. So therefore, inner peace, irrespective whether religious-minded or non-religious-minded, even anti-religious people, they also, you see, need more sort of awareness, importance of our inner peace, inner, that we can call inner value. So therefore, if you look world, nobody wants a problem. Yet, a lot of problems, we human beings are self-created. So then, big question, why? Nobody wants a problem. But a lot of problems we created, why? Short-sightedness, narrow-minded. As Madhyamika philosophers say, when we look things, something which we want or something we do not want, you say, appears something absolute independent. So that's the problem. In reality, nothing independent exists. Everything interrelated. So in order to achieve our happy life, we have to look from wider perspective. And in order to develop peaceful world, we have to look from wider perspective. So ultimately, very much related with our inner peace. So now, I think 7 billion human beings, everyone come from their mother. Everyone received maximum affection from their mother and survived with mother's milk, mother's care. All 7 billion human beings, same. All human beings received maximum affection from their mother, maximum care from their parent, particularly from mother. So, all 7 billion human beings all have the same sort of experience, the appreciation of humans' love, humans' affection. So, any person who really sort of appreciate others' affection, care, also have the seed to show other love, affection. So therefore, I believe all 7 billion human beings have same potential of infinite love. Now education is the key factor. Existing education system, not adequate, mainly oriented about material value. So therefore, existing education system, I think we should look, we should examine very carefully, thoroughly, how to include certain sort of education for inner value. Not talking about next life or heaven or nirvana. Simply how to build happy world, happy 7 billion human being, happy humanity. So we, including some scientists, some educationists, we already working. I think last few years we already committed. Trying to make some sort of a draft about education, about secular ethics, like that. So, my brothers, sisters, I think since we all part of humanity, we all should concern about the well-being of humanity. So please think, more deeper way, what is the source of this problem and how to solve. So I believe education is the key factor. If at the beginning of the 21st century, if we start certain realistic, practical, secular education, if start now, I think later part of 21st century can be more happier century, more peaceful, more compassionate. So that's, I want to share all my brothers, sisters. That's number one. Second, suppose we all have some sort of interest about religion and including Buddha Dharma, Buddhism. So, very good. All major world religious tradition, basically two categories. Theistic religion, non-theistic religion, so all carry same message of love, message of forgiveness, tolerance. So all have same potential. Yes, in the philosophical field, there is a lot of differences. Even within Buddhist tradition, there are different philosophical views, as you already heard. You see, mainly Sautrantic, Vivashek, Sautrantic, Chittamantra, Madhyamika. And within these four major different schools of thought, there are subdivisions also there. So there are a lot of differences. But it doesn't matter. All carry same message, same practice of or practice of sort of love or morality. So look, those theistic religion. See, philosophically different, but all carry same message. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and I think there are many, Zoroastrian, all major religious traditions, you see, all carry the same message of love. So now question is whether is a follower of these different religious traditions seriously practice or sincerely practice. That's the question. Otherwise, all major religious traditions carry the same message, in spite of different philosophical views. And different philosophy is relevant. Different time, different location, different sort of lifestyle, and that also related with climate condition, or like that. So therefore, different cultural heritage is there, different philosophical views there. It is necessary. So long, all these different sort of philosophical views aiming, same goal, try to promote love, compassion, forgiveness, use different philosophical views, such as a creator, God, as our Father. So when we describe God, infinite love, so that kind of sort of philosophical views also very, very effective, very powerful. So like that. So therefore, there is real ground to develop genuine harmony among these different religious traditions. So today, in the name of different religion, killing same human being. When we heard, you see, some person now here, this area, one, or was the elephant killed one human being, we feel a little sorrow, so surprising or something like that. And tiger, you see, killed one human being, feel. But then, one human being killed another human being. Unacceptable. Very serious matter. Both have same sort of, also the brain. Both have the seed of compassion. Deep inside, I think those people who are ready to harm other people, they also, I think, when they see their friend with love, with affection, I think they very much appreciate that. So it is quite surprising. As a human being who received maximum affection from their mother, and today's reality, in spite of different views, including different religious faith, we have to live together. So, biologically or practically, killing by a human being, another human being, is unthinkable. So it is absolutely wrong while you see killing going on. Another human brothers, sisters, just remain indifferently. So that's wrong. We have to work. So therefore, the political matter is something different to politicians or leaders. But on the public level, due to different religious faith, you see, negative attitude, including killing, it is, I think, we have to work hard to remove that. That, you see, we have to promote awareness. All major religious traditions carry same message, and the different philosophy is relevant. Over, I think, 3,000 years, humanity, there are different people who have different mental disposition. Therefore, different philosophy is necessary, is relevant. However, you see, in spite of different philosophical views, all carry the same message. So we can work, make clearer understanding, you see, to develop mutual respect, mutual learning, and through that way, harmony. We can develop. I think, look, India, in spite of some problem here and there, basically, I think this country, I think remarkably, religious harmony is there. So multi-religious nation, generally speaking, very, very harmonious sort of the society, like that. So since most populated democratic country, India, quite complicated, in spite of that, as far as religious harmony is concerned, still very good. So that's one example. So different part of the world, you see, we can develop religious harmony. This, you all, you see, believe something. So you all have moral responsibility, make some contribution. So then, as I mentioned earlier, theistic religion, non-theistic religion, and within non-theistic religion, the Sankhya philosophy, one part of Sankhya philosophy, no concept of God, creator, and Jainism, no concept of creator or God, and Buddhism also, no concept of God, creator. Buddha even mentioned we ourselves as a creator, like that. So then Buddha, one I think quite unique thing, Buddha Dharma is, Buddha stated, "Oh, my follower, monks, scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith or out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." That is quite unique. So many masters of Nalanda institution, you see, even you see certain Buddha's own sort of teaching, they reject it. If you accept this Buddha's teaching, it goes against such reasons. Therefore, we should, those masters, you see, took liberty to reject Buddha's own sort of some teaching like that. So therefore, you see, sometimes I describe Buddha, one aspect of Buddha looks like ancient Indian scientist. So he emphasizes reasons rather than faith. So therefore, see, now today's world, see, seems, although Buddhism is one of the ancient tradition of Asia, but now because of communication and because of closer sort of relations, now traditionally non-Buddhist country, now there are some people really showing interest about Buddhism, including some scientists. Therefore, you see, now many of you traditionally say non-Buddhist country. So therefore, you see, I always make clear, whenever I give some lecture on Buddhism in the West, I always emphasize it is better to keep their own traditional faith. It is much stable and much safe. Change religion sometimes create more confusion. I personally also experienced some of my friends. You see, so therefore, it is better to keep one's own tradition. However, among millions of people, some individual have certain mental disposition. It's a Buddhist way of sort of, because of the way of teaching, or way of sort of the method of improvement, one's own mind, more suitable, then okay. In that case, you have to think very seriously. Changing religion or accept some other sort of tradition, not easy. So therefore, you should think very seriously. And then once you fully sort of convince this Buddhist way of approach is more suitable to you, then it is up to individuals right, you see, to follow Buddha Dharma. At the same time, we must respect your traditional religion, because you see, still millions of people get immense sort of benefit from that tradition. So there is sufficient reason to respect. Sometimes you see, there is sort of the human nature. Once you change something, So in order to make justify, this is sometimes a little critical. That's wrong. We must respect continuously. I'm Buddhist. I respect all major religious tradition. Here I usually make a distinction: faith and respect. Faith, one's own tradition, one's own sort of religious tradition. Respect all religions. So that is something important I want to share. Then, the last few days, these textbooks, all of them, I think, all these texts is wrote by Tibetan masters. So I think last over 1,000 years, I think through generations, you see many Tibetan, I think really immense service to Buddha Dharma writing, sort of explanation. These texts, really wonderful. I think among Buddhist countries, I think Tibetan, I think recent centuries, quite small population. However, I think such small human community, I think not only preserve Nalanda tradition, but also I think make a lot of, contribution in order to understand these important Nalanda masters' text. So therefore, you see, Tibetan, at present, we are passing through some difficulties. Although comparatively, now things step by step improving. So there is hopeful, because in China proper, over 400 million Buddhists there. So many of these Buddhists really showing genuine interest about Buddhism, and many of them appreciate or recognize Tibetan Buddhism is really quite authentic Nalanda tradition. So it is quite hopeful. However, we all have sort of some kind of moral responsibility, you see, to make some effort for preservation of Tibetan Buddhist tradition and Buddhist culture. Buddhist culture is culture of peace, culture of non-violence, culture of compassion. So that kind of culture is, whether believer or non-believer, whether Buddhist or non-Buddhist, this culture is really very important. I usually make a distinction. Buddhism and Buddhist culture. Buddhist culture related with community. Buddhism related with individual. So, for preservation of Buddhist culture is really quite useful for humanity, like that. So that's all I want to share with you. And then thank you. You all come in spite some inconvenience, difficulties, but you all come. So I felt it is my moral responsibility to see you and have one photo. So in spite my sort of quite tiresome, but still I feel this is some kind of moral responsibility. So now I fulfilled. Thank you. Good night.